Now, over the break, I read an internal report done for the Liberal Party on their terrible defeat at the last federal election. Now, I wasn't really hugely impressed by the contents. It was good on how bad things were. For instance, the Liberals now hold only 4 of the 44 inner metropolitan seats. It's essentially dead in the inner cities. It was also good on the backbiting in the party, Liberals putting themselves above their party, let alone their country. It said there were too many examples of scandal, disunity and instability, and the party had been hurt by a paralysing fight over who should decide who should run for which seat in New South Wales in particular. And Scott Morrison, of course, got some criticism too. But there was nothing at all about policy, what the Liberals actually stood for or should. It just said there wasn't much of it. But this report did say a lot about not having enough female MPs, and it is amazing that just 1/4 of the Liberals in federal parliament are women now. And that's the lowest share in 30 years, 1/4. And women are much less likely to vote Liberal than are men. In fact, of the 30 seats with the most female professional people in them, the Liberals hold just 3 of the 30. Now, someone now doing something to tackle this is Charlotte Mortlock. You might know her as a former Sky News presenter, and she's now head of Hilma's network, which is trying to recruit more women for the Liberal Party and get more female MPs. Charlotte, it's great to see you again. Now, listen, I'm always wary, as you know, of identity politics, but let me ask, is there a link between the Liberals having fewer female MPs than, 30 years and losing elections?
Yes, I do think so, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me on. It is great to be back here at Sky News. I think the voter has been really explicit with what they want, and that is female representation, and it is now up to us to try and make sure that the Liberal Party can get back into government, and females will be a really big part of that. So I think it's not only at the leadership level that gets so much of the focus, it's at the grassroots level. We have really abhorrent statistics of how much female participation we have at the membership level, and I think that that is what we really need to focus on. So Hilma's network, a great byproduct of it would be to get females that eventually were running as candidates, but certainly the focus is actually on trying to get women joining the Liberal Party so they can support other women in pre-selections, and as well so that they are part of our policy creation. We need to make sure that we have that conduit right to the Liberal Party that does really help inform us and better cater to them, because women are 51% of the population in Australia, and we need to make sure that we are creating something that's very appealing to them.
Now, I totally agree with you that if you're getting more women join the Liberal Party, you've got and seeing, convincing more women that there's a future in the Liberal Party for them, that gives you access, or gives the party access to a lot more talent. Excellent. The thing that I wonder, it's a question, is the problem that the Liberals don't have enough women, or that women are always more likely to go for the cuddlier, big spending parties of the left? Because you see the same thing in Britain, women are less likely to vote Conservative. You see the same thing in the US, less likely to vote for the Republicans. You see the same thing in Canada, women are less likely to vote Conservative. In New Zealand, they've traditionally been less likely to vote for the Nationals there, but funnily enough, in recent times, they're starting to come right back to the Nationals, even though the Labor Party is run by a woman. Is the problem the policies, inherently more attractive to men, for some reason, cultural, I don't know, or is it the fact that they don't have enough women?
So first of all, apology for fiddling with my earpiece. It's making me feel right at home, and I'm back in the studio, so that's always good. But no, so I think that the argument is a fair one, that we should be focusing on policy and not kind of identity wars. I totally agree with that. But the problem we have now is that I don't really believe that women are even listening to the policies that we are creating. We have a branding issue, and I don't think that they are really taking in any of the policies. So, for example, if you look at the New South Wales government, Dominic Perrottet has done a fantastic job with creating some really brilliant policy for women. I don't know that that is cutting through, and that is because we have this branding issue. They are switched off, and we have to find a way to switch that back on. So I don't think that women will never vote conservatively or never vote for parties on the right. I do think it's up to us. And it's in not only our branding, but how we go about engaging with women. I think for a large part, I actually think that major parties have been quite lazy with the model that they have used. It has never changed, and we really need some fresh ideas and some fresh approaches to try and engage with that audience, because we won't win elections without 51% of the population supporting us.
There is that, but so you can tell me, I guess, then, your call is that the Liberals will not get even more left-wing by recruiting more female MPs. You think that that nexus is not there?
No, I see your point. I just think that if we have a party membership that is reflective of our society, that is good political strategy, because then we are going to be creating policy that is something that is appealing to the population. So Hilma's network is not factional. I do not want to be brought into a factional debate over kind of left or right of the Liberal Party, and certainly the different factions that we have, because what I'm really proud of as a Liberal is that we have a broad church. I don't want to go to an event where I agree with everyone in the room. I want to be challenged. I want people to think differently to me. And I think that the factional, the very real fractures in our party have really hindered our strength as a party to come forward and say, yeah, we don't always agree, but we are still a strong option. Because I always think that one of the best things about the Liberal Party is that our MPs have the opportunity to cross the floor. And some would argue that that creates fractures, but I think that that's a very democratic process.
Charlotte Mortlock, well said. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.